I'm Shoestring Jay and welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things thrifty, frugal and sustainable. And I don't really know what I'm going to talk about today. I've got the worst headache. It will just be a stream of consciousness video, I think, this one. I've got the worst headache and it is my own fault. The worst headache because I had friends over for dinner and I just allowed my glass of Prosecco to get refilled multiple times. And normally I stop at 2 because if I don't stop at 2, I'll get a headache. I know that I'm going to get a headache. I'm very much a lightweight. I'm a cheap date when it comes to alcohol. But I was enjoying myself and I was allowing my glass to be filled up, and I reckon I had about 4 glasses, which is probably not much for most of you. But for me, I woke up really early, really dehydrated, with a headache, didn't sleep very well. Woke up in the night feeling really anxious at one point, actually, which is another thing that alcohol does to me. Woke up early, got up and made myself a big cup of tea and had a glass of water. And now I just feel exhausted. And me and Archie had to do that really long walk. It's such a beautiful day today, though. So I just thought, taking paracetamol, let's do a really good walk, and that hopefully will shift it. It hasn't. I've still got a headache. I've just taken ibuprofen as well. But as I say, I have no one to blame except myself. So it's my own fault. Beautiful day today. The last one, I think, before it changes tomorrow. Rain's forecast tomorrow, so making the most of it. What do you think, Archie? This is where the cuckoos will sound when they're ready. Might be a bit early. This is the village across the river. It's so close you can almost touch it. But we have to get a ferry, a little rowing boat across. Well, it's not a rowing boat now, actually, it's a little motorboat to get across to them. There's no bridge, no footbridge. I think they'd be delighted if there was a footbridge, because we have a station this side and they don't. They could pop over and get on the train to go to work. It's such a lovely morning. Got the yellow submarine over there. They used to have birds flying, like geese or something, flying ducks, but they've changed it to yellow submarine. Which is quite cool, isn't it? Sorry, my camera works a bit wobbly. I'm just hanging on to my phone and the ground is really uneven. I've got Archie on a lead because he would love to go down there. I've had to hike him out before and he's gone down right into that mud because he thinks that's great. I'll go and have a swim, and it's absolute thick mud and it's kind of blue. He's gone down here before. It goes that kind of oily blue and you can't get it off. It's really hard. Yeah, he went down there when it was a bit more water and I had to grab him by the collar. Naughty boy. Hear the train and see the train. That's the one I get to see my mum. Yesterday I had to take her back via the A12 and it was just awful because it's the Easter holidays and obviously lots of people are on the move and it's a lovely day. And the A12 was just stopping for no reason, just volume of traffic, I think. Stopped several times on the way there and on the way back. The blossom, it's lovely, isn't it? What a glorious day. I haven't heard a cuckoo yet though, so I think I'm perhaps a bit early for the cuckoos. I just met a lady who lives just in one of the houses over there, just beyond the marshes, and she said that she goes, oh yeah, cuckoo to start with, and by the end she's going, oh shut up, because there's so many of them. So I just need to walk down here often enough and I'll definitely hear them. But to me it's still a novelty, as I said to her. I don't think it'll ever stop being a novelty because I don't live where you live. Gorgeous. And the weather's changing tomorrow. It's going to start raining, so as I said, Just making the best of it today and having an extra long walk. Tomorrow, if it's raining, I probably won't feel like it. We'll see. I should really see if there's any washing to get done. I don't think there is. I did it all in the week and got it all dry. These boats looking good. Anyway, that's enough of the walk I'm going to share today. Let's get on. So I'm hoping that a second cup of proper tea, as opposed to decaf, will help me get rid of my Prosecco headache. And I only have myself to blame for that, don't I? Hopefully this will do the trick. So I've got myself another cup of tea with caffeine, because caffeine does seem to help with the head. So a proper tea, proper leaf tea, which I prefer to drink actually. Proper leaf tea, I make it in one of those little metal containers, and it just tastes so much nicer than tea bags. I mean, for people that aren't sensitive to caffeine, I would say, why do you ever buy tea bags? It tastes so much nicer. It's cheaper to buy it loose, and there's much less plastic involved. So cheers, I need this. So anyway, had my dinner party. I was trying to do it fairly frugally, and I think I succeeded. It's not that easy, is it, when you're cooking for friends? I did a tomato and pepper soup, roasted tomatoes and red peppers, which I like, for starter. I had somebody who was gluten-free, so I had to be kind of sensible of that. I had some gluten-free rolls to go alongside the soup. And then I did a fish pie, and I bought a big bag of frozen fish from Lidl, because that was by far the cheapest way to buy the fish. And I already had some salmon in the freezer, so I mixed those together. Had another friend that can't eat prawns. Normally I would put prawns in that, so I guess that probably saved me a bit of money as well. And hard-boiled eggs. I used the Delia Smith fish pie recipe, and it's really lovely. So even though the fish was just quite cheap, white fish, it actually tasted really nice. So that was good, and just did some vegetables with that. And then I made a chocolate mousse. I had all the chocolate. I had dark chocolate. I was given for Christmas a couple of the kind of gift boxes of little mini chocolates, and there was a lot of the dark chocolate left because it was 85% and it's quite bitter, and so I hadn't eaten a lot of that. I do like dark chocolate, but I tend to go for like 70% dark chocolate. So I had saved that up, and I used all of that up making the chocolate mousses. So it was what I had already, just with eggs and some very strong coffee. You add to this particular recipe, and then you blob cream on top. And I had some raspberries as well to put on top. So it was really nice. We think we all enjoyed it. And they all bought the drinks. So it was reasonably inexpensive, and certainly, for four of us, cheaper than probably cost the same as one of us going out for a meal, really. So everybody else got it for nothing. And with this particular group of girlfriends, we take it in turns. So like once every 3 months or so, one of us will cook. So it's really nice. So you get several times 4 or 5 times where you don't pay at all because somebody else is doing the cooking. I'm going to keep that handy because, like I say, my brain needs waking up. I feel really sluggish just when I need to learn. On the way back from our walk, I found a freebie on a doorstep, and I picked this up more out of nostalgia than because I thought it was a great book. And I was right. My mum had this book, a version of this book. It was originally published in 1971. And it's Poor Cook by Susan Campbell and Caroline Conran. Fabulous food for next to nothing. As I suspected, it has a lot of offal in it. And as I no longer eat meat, a lot of that is just not really relevant for me. And offal is still cheap, isn't it? But it's not as cheap as it was. I was wondering if it was still relevant to today. And in some ways So I literally just threw my cup of tea all over my laptop while I was talking. I don't know how I did that. This is what happens. Luckily, I grabbed the laptop really fast, turned it upside down and dried it. It seems to be okay. And I've got myself another cup of tea. Honestly, this is why I shouldn't drink. Get me up drinking. Anyway, back to this book. I think looking at this, to say, is quite meat-based. I don't know that it's it's all that cheap now. There's fish, for example. There's a whole chapter on fish, and fish is expensive now, isn't it? So I guess you might have some, but how to prepare and dress a crab. Most people who are really watching their food budget are probably not going to go and buy crab, are they? And I can't imagine that my mum would have done that, or that was even that cheap in the 70s. So, I mean, this isn't... I've got another book which is called The Good Kitchen by Shirley Good, and that is much, much more relevant, because the way that Shirley Good looked at things was she didn't go for loads of luxury foods. She clearly was somebody who had to watch her pennies herself, and she would literally cost out all of the ingredients for every dish that she was suggesting you made, and they were very basic. But when you're really struggling, you're going to go for some sort of bean hot pot rather than a dressed crab, aren't you, really? So there's lots of these now. I still, if I was eating meat, I wouldn't really go for them. So I suspect that although my mum had this book in hope, she probably didn't really use it. I don't remember any of these recipes ever appearing on our tables. So I'm not sure if it's more a curiosity, interesting book. I love the way it's designed. It's like very, very 70s. Let me find one of the title pages. Cakes, biscuits and bread. Look how 70s that is. So it's a great vintage book, but in terms of past the cook for yourself, once you get past that message, cook for yourself, don't eat loads of processed stuff, because that was obviously coming in the 70s, because on the back it says, review from The Observer, a very good book, bringing back memories of simple food that's been forgotten in the overwhelming flood of pre-packed and convenience foods. Well, that has not stopped. I mean, if they thought that was an overwhelming flood, it's a tsunami now, isn't it, really? So I guess if you look at it from that point of view, you're saying cook from scratch, cook healthy meals for yourself and your family, but these are not necessarily that cheap as far as I'm concerned anyway. And I did notice as well that I thought Caroline Conran, is she one of the Conran dynasty that owned Habitat? Terence Conran, Jasper Conran was a dress designer, and she is. So I'm always slightly suspicious of very wealthy people from wealthy families who are telling poor people what to eat, because you haven't got that lived experience. I don't really think you can do it. I think the reason a book like A Girl Called Jack and Jack Monroe became a huge phenomenon was because people perceived her at the time as real, and actually really living that experience. I mean, there was some people don't think that Jack is that genuine, but I think her first book anyway is particularly very, very good. So an interesting thing to pick up. Not necessarily going to change my approach to cooking. Don't even know if I'll do anything. I mean, the recipes in here that I would do, I just know how to make anyway. Things like lentil soup and that kind of thing. So interesting. And then it was my birthday last weekend. I'm just going to grab these so to show you. I asked for 2 more Nancy Birtwistle books. I do have the cleaning book, which I use all the time, but I asked for the Green Gardening Handbook and Green Living Made Easy. So again, I might know quite a lot of this stuff, but there's always lots more you can learn, isn't there? So I'm interested to read this. I haven't even had a chance to look at them yet because my mum's been here after we had our little birthday celebration. I brought mum back because I mentioned in my last video that her flat there was some work being done on her flat, so she got out of the way and came to us for 5 days. So I haven't had time really to do anything. I've been entertaining elderly mums. Let's try not to tip this over again. So I was thinking, well, April tends to be a fairly expensive-ish month because I have my birthday, my sister has her birthday. We always have some sort of celebration. These days, none of us have got a big enough house to all meet in a house, so we tend to have to go to a restaurant. We went to a pub near Mum's house. It was very, very reasonable, actually, very reasonable. But I knew that I was going to be spending on things like that. So I was thinking that, I really need to cut back on my spending this month. I think I also, when I did my budget in March, and I had overspent in a couple of categories. So I thought, well, let's rein it in this month. And then I was thinking about things that I have bought that have actually saved me money. So not that I'm buying anything this month, but one thing I do have to buy that's not saving me money particularly, but I do have to buy is a decent iron. The iron I've had was only a cheap one. I've had it for a long time. And I do need to iron. I don't necessarily iron for myself, but I do sometimes sell clothing. And I just want to get a decent, good quality steam iron that will last me a long time. So if anybody has any recommendations for, it doesn't have to be cheap. I don't want it to be cheap, actually. I want it to be a good iron that's going to last a long time. Please do tell me in the comments below. I'm really, really happy to have recommendations. UK, obviously. So I was thinking about things that I've bought that have ended up saving me money. So I thought I'd go through some of those and then maybe you can add yours in the comments. This is not a comprehensive list by any stretch of the imagination. First was, I'm looking at Archie, you can't see him off camera, but we've reduced his hair clipping to one every other month. We used to have to do him once every, well, it'd be once every 6 weeks, say, and now we're going to do him at the groomers once every 3 months, and in between we're going to clip him ourselves. And that is partly for cost and partly because he gets really, really stressed. He does not enjoy the groomers at all, even though she's a really lovely lady. He just doesn't like being there. So clippers, I've got some hair clippers and they will save us some money doing that interim one. So hopefully if we get better at it, we can cut out the groomer altogether. And then I have mentioning Nancy, the cleaning book. I save loads of money by making my own cleaning products and not buying ready-made, particularly, I perhaps would have always bought generic, which is cheaper anyway, supermarket brands, but I don't buy any branded cleaning stuff. I like to keep chemicals low in the house, so I make my own stuff. So buying things like washing soda and citric acid and vinegar, and that's basically all I use really in cleaning products, saves me money in the long run. So that's something I invest in to save money. And vegetable seeds and tools for the garden. So doing that, making that effort, growing some of our own food will save us money towards the end of the summer when we start getting harvests in. And it's good exercise as well. So it saves money on going to the gym. Not that I have a gym membership, but it's another way of saving money. I'm just looking at my list. The other thing I would say is definitely save loads of money is a heated throw. So the heated throw, really one between us, but sometimes we snuggle it across both of us. It's so thick and fleece lined that sometimes I don't even turn it on. But that's saved loads of money because I don't heat the whole house, particularly when it is only me, and quite often it is me and Archie. So we'll snuggle up under that throw. The rest of the house is cold, really doesn't matter. So that was an investment I made probably 4 years ago now. And I paid about £65. I think heated throws, perhaps they've gone up in price since then, but I still think that was a worthwhile investment. I think it's worth buying a decent one again, because if you buy the cheapest heated throw, they're not very thick, and they'll probably give up the ghost after a year or so. So it's worth, I think, buying a decent one. Thermal curtain linings are worth buying, or extra pairs of curtains just to add a bit of lining to your windows to stop drafts, particularly if you've got bad windows. I mean, we've got double glazing, but it's not brilliant, and it's kind of, the seals have gone in a few places. So thermal curtain linings, or even a thermal blind. I've got one of those in the bedroom which is double because I get a lot of sun in the bedroom in the morning, so it stops the sun coming in the summer and waking me up at stupid o'clock, but it also provides an extra layer of insulation in the winter. So I think that's a worthwhile purchase, and that's saved us some money. And the other things are personal care products, I think, that things that stop you having single-use items. So you buy them, you use them once, you chuck them away. There's got to be a better way, hasn't there? I mean, it's not great for the environment if you're trying to be a little bit greener, it's not good. But if you want to save money, it also makes so much more sense to have reusables. So I am thinking things like little bamboo pads to take your makeup off, or reusable sanitary pads or period pants, moon cup type things. Those kind of things all can be used again and again for years and years and years and save you a lot of money. Also nappies, if you're a mum or if you're a dad, sorry, I'm sure there are some men who watch this, mainly women on this channel, but if you're a parent, then washing nappies is going to save you money. It's got to. Plus, it's much better for the environment. And I know some people say, but you'll have your washing machine going all the time. But you'll have your washing machine going if you've got kids quite often. Chuck the nappies in. It really doesn't make that much difference. And, make sure you've got enough nappies, really, is the thing, I think, the key. So you can buy those secondhand now as well. Make sure they're disinfected and you can reuse them. You don't have to go to landfill. You haven't got all this stuff that never rots away and is there forever. And also, in my case, hankies. I'll show you. So I picked up this little tissue box in the charity shop a long time ago now, and I have my hankies in it. So I wash them, I stick them back in here. I don't disinfect them. It's only me that uses them. You can't really, if you've had germs, then you tend not to get the same germs back anyway. So I just stick them in the wash with everything else, and that's all I do. So they save me lots of money and they save waste as well. God, I really am having one of those days today. Don't drink, Jane. Makes you super, super clumsy. So what else? Sewing things, so a basic sewing kit. So if you, make a little hole in an item of clothing before it becomes a big hole, you can sew it up. If you are really, really good at sewing, obviously you can start making your own clothes, and you can use fabrics that you can get from the charity shop. It can be really expensive to make your own clothing. You could buy patterns that are very nice and then go to the shop and buy some fabric, and it will be much, much more expensive than you could have just bought. So if that's your only worry is money, but you can still get fabrics all the time. I see beautiful old fabrics in the charity shop for just a few pounds, and I see patterns all the time as well. And you can, if you're good at these things, you can buy secondhand clothing and alter them. This is not something I'm great at, but I can do a bit of mending. So I think that having needle and thread in lots of different colours is a really, really good money-saving investment. And the other thing is, if you've got a car cleaning stuff, because I'd got into the habit a few years ago of just there was a place run by a big group of Polish people, and they would do an absolutely brilliant job on your car in such a quick amount of time, and it would be lovely. However, it used to cost me about £15, and it was gradually crept up the price of that. I think it's about £18 now. So I've taken to hoovering out my own car and giving it a wash. And okay, I don't do it as often as I should, but then I didn't take it to them as often as I should. So investing in something like, if you've got a hose pipe, a brush to stick on the end of the hose pipe. I actually inherited one when I cleared out my dad's shed. My dad was very, very good at this sort of stuff. He did everything himself. He would not have dreamed of taking his car and getting somebody else to clean it. He'd have cleaned it himself. So I inherited all of his car cleaning stuff, but it wouldn't cost much to buy that kind of thing and start to clean your own car and save yourself a bit of money. So lots of different things like that they're a small investment, but will save you money. So I think it's worth considering those things. I think as well, if you've got men in the house, or if you're a woman who likes very short hair, clippers. I have done that on a man's head before, clippers. If you don't care about the style particularly, saves you loads of money going to the barbers. Or if you're really getting very bald on top, then it looks better, doesn't it? It looks much better to have completely shaved head or very, very short hair than it does to have this kind of thing going on where you've got a band of hair here and it's bald on top. It looks much more modern, I think. It looks nicer. So clippers are probably another good investment, not just for the dog. While we were in the pub, funnily enough, I did put this on my Instagram, so you might have seen it already, but we were just sitting there. I think I got up and went to the loo, and when I came back, my daughter was looking all excited and a bit flushed and everything, and my mum was laughing at her, and that's because they just realised that sitting at the next table was a guy he didn't win the X Factor, but he did, I think he came third, and he certainly had a few singles on the strength of being in the X Factor, called Chico. So if you're in the UK, you may know him. We worked out, I think it was 2005 or 2006. That was a long time ago. I don't watch the X Factor, but at that point, the girls were at home and they all loved it. So they knew Chico. He did a song called Chico Time. It's Chico Time. And he was a cheeky chappy, and he was great, you know. So we realised, well, Becky did, realised that he was sitting next to us, so she struck up a conversation with him. And he was so sweet, very humble, really nice guy, had his photo taken with all of us, chatted my mum up and made her feel special and told her how lovely she was all the time. Told my daughter she had beautiful eyes, and if only he was 20 years younger, because he's about 50 odd now. And he was a very, very nice guy. So I put that on my Instagram, so go over and have a little look. So we met a little celebrity of sorts. And now apparently he doesn't do a lot of music anymore. He runs holistic and wellness retreats. And he looked like a bit of an old hippie now, which is right up my street, really. But very, very fit guy, not surprisingly. So check out Chico if you're not sure who he is. So it gave us a little thrill. He even made a fuss of Archie. And Archie, he loves anyone who's going to make a fuss of him, frankly. Anyway, because I actually have a hangover and I do have a headache still, and I keep dropping things, I think I'm going to bring this video to an end right here. Let me know in the comments what things that you think you've bought that would save you money ultimately, and any other comments you've got, what you think of poor cook, anything else I've been rabbiting on about, whether you can drink. And I will see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give me the thumbs up, please. Thank you. Bye for now.